Okay, one sec here. There we go. Okay, good to go. So I need to get more monster parts.
Have a look.
Namely Altaroth parts, or literally anything. I'm gonna do this real quick.
Be careful out there.
I don't want to play more Wrath of the Righteous, so I'm gonna like do this for a couple of hours, switch to Wrath, and then probably play Dragon's Dogma for another couple. It'll be the way I pass the day, just switching back and forth. I like Pathfinder. It's a lot of fun. So one second, let me get something to eat first. You know, I was imagining a scenario in a tabletop RPG where, like, where an evil member of a previous campaign's party, like an evil wizard or something, ends up becoming like a mega super crazy hardcore Dark Lord character or something, and like he ends up becoming the source for a new party member in the next campaign. He becomes like a source of their warlock power, so he becomes their patron. Oh shit. I only got strapped for one. Okay. There we go.
Don't mind me.
I was thinking of a situation like that where, like, this party member isn't a warlock. He's literally not anything. He's just a shopkeep. And the literal first act of the game is them meeting this previous party member, controlled by the DM, of course, because that would make more sense.
Nothing personal.
I think the idea is cool. You know, I'm not a DM. I wouldn't know really how to execute that mechanically. Jason sort of did something like that, where a previous party member became a powerful, insanely dangerous lich, and then later, like more like a godlike character, no stat block, and his eye is like a major antagonist in the story, but he also helps the party. So it's doable, but removing, like, not applying a stat block to it is the weird part for me, because it's like, what do you do with that? You know? I feel like this technically means that Jasper is a warlock, not a like a cleric. Though she still identifies as a cleric, still talks like one and stuff. Pathfinder is fun. Like the tabletop, it's really fun because you can come up with all sorts of inventive ideas. I don't know the first thing about DMing though. Like, I really don't. One thing I've been meaning to do is I've been meaning to like come up with a better sense of how the class system in my setting works. As well, it's not like a TTRPG setting; it's based on it somewhat. But it's more based on Final Fantasy than anything else. It's still the setting of a story, but I want there to be like actual mechanics that can be followed and kept track of. And one of the things I was thinking of is how the class system works, because it's inspired by D&D, but it's mostly Final Fantasy oriented. So it's like it's a job system. It's literally just Final Fantasy job system. And I thought to myself, okay, so job switching in Final Fantasy is usually pretty easy and straightforward. But what if it wasn't? What if you just stuck to like strict restrictions, except for like if you changed a job outright, you'd have to sacrifice a level. You know? And, or you'd have to sacrifice a lot of levels depending on how, like, distant the job was. But there would be, like, segue classes, like, say, Blue Mage. In my mind, the Blue Mage of the setting of Lord of Doom is a melee and caster character, because they're tanky, so they have a lot of constitution with the HP. And usually it's like a tradition with Blue Mages, they have fairly high health. Constitution. But, and they usually wield weapons. You know, they can fight like a normal offensive class. They're still pretty low end in that regard, but they absolutely are fighter type characters mixed with magic, because that's kind of what they have to be. Since blue magic is sort of a weird thing where it's like some monster spells are just melee attacks with magical properties, and some are just like ranged, normal magic looking things. You know? Like for example, for a good idea, in Final Fantasy XIV, there's an attack where you just shoot drills. And it's considered a spell, even though what you're literally doing is you're shooting drills at stuff. And it's treated not as a spell, but as a physical attack. It's still a blue magic spell, but like in the actual Coliseum game, where you play Blue Mage in that game, it's considered physical damage, and it's applied as such. Whereas, say, something like Voice of the Dragon or Voice of the Ram would be straight magic damage. Drill Shot, or whatever it was called, that would be like just physical. There are some Blue Mage spells that are literally attacks, like Tomberry's Knife, that's a Blue Mage spell in that game. And it's really cool because it hits really hard. And it has synergy with other stuff as well. That plays off of physical debuffing more. So it's really good to use. I've used it before. The Final Sting, that's physical. And then there's like a magical version of that. Oh, literally, it's self-destruct. That's the magical version. Final Sting is like the physical version of self-destruct. And my point is that Blue Mages are crazy in Final Fantasy XIV. What's that dog doing? Get over here. Okay. So, in my mind, in the Lord of Doom setting, the class itself has to be melee and magic focused. Like, it's straight up like a hybrid class. And the idea is, if you want to switch between jobs, the easiest way to do it would be to switch between a hybrid class first, and use that as like a bridge to the next class. Sort of setting a restriction on that. So if you wanted to say switch to a rogue, from a rogue to a caster, you'd have to switch between, say, gun mage in this case, because gun mage would be more along the lines of a rogue type of job, I guess. Rogue and magic. Because in Final Fantasy X, gun mage is just a straight, like, it's a hybrid between hunter and blue mage. It's literally just that. Like it's got all the weakness things from Bravely Default 2's archer job or hunter job, I'm not sure. But basically, like there's a job in Bravely Default 2, and I think in some other games as well, where you like you target weaknesses with the bow character, basically. Gun Mage has that. It's like its main gimmick outside of the blue magic, and it's what you normally attack with Gun Mage. So that would be like a rogue character, sort of, or just a ranged dex-based character. So, say another example of one of the jobs I'm thinking of putting into the story is like Dark Lord. Dark Lord is a hybrid between a Dark Knight and a Sorcerer, and its whole thing is it can cast a lot of dark spells, like more than Dark Knight can. Dark Knight's like its own standalone. It has magic and melee, but it's mostly just melee. It doesn't have any like defining identity out of that because all of its magic is it's MP related, but it's like it's more like a set of abilities than actual magic. I'd say the only actual spells a Dark Knight's supposed to have are like gravity magic for sure. Whereas Dark Lord would be like, okay, it has pretty much everything a Dark Knight would have, including the use of heavy armor, but it can also cast Meteor Swarm and stuff like that. That's kind of the idea I have for that. Like, it's more of a Dark Knight stuff is there to support the insane use of magic. Alright, where does I go with this? It's after some monsters. I need to find some Alteroth. Like, I should be hunting those down. Ah, there they are.
Sorry, pal. Don't mind me. Go!
All this is to say that I'm just really trying to focus on, like, how the entire job system or vocation system in this case is structured. Because I keep thinking to myself, man, if this were an actual game, I'd want this to be mechanically a lot of fun to experiment with. I'd like to have a job system on crack, which is what I'm coming up with. It's like, because I like the Final Fantasy job system. I also like some of the restrictive ways the class system in D&D works. Because again, once you pick a class, usually that's it, unless you're willing to like change your character's level. And when you're progressing a campaign, that's not a good idea. Because things get progressively stronger, and the DM also has to adjust an account for you being weakened. And he can just refuse to do that, and you just have to deal with it and try to level up. Changing alignments will also result in like a huge penalty, so if you say wanted to completely change your character, messing with their alignment is usually going to result in a penalty, which in turn makes your role in the story a lot harder to deal with, because you're not as strong anymore, because you changed your alignment. Of course, I think that's a Pathfinder thing, I'm not sure. Jason's campaign is like a weird hybrid campaign of D&D and Pathfinder. It's a custom module he was experimenting with, basically. We're still running Pool of Radiance, but it's going slow, because we can only do it for like 2 hours a week. So we don't have a lot of time to do it, you know? But it is what it is. Time restrictions are just what they are. Could we use these snow days to play? One sec. I'll just, got so many of these things to hunt. Go down there. Alright. Going down.
Nothing personal.
But the idea I had was you started with like a traditional roll triangle, so to speak. You'd have the rogue type characters, so I guess yellow vocations in this case. You'd have red vocations, so tanks, melee, physical DPS, dealers, that sort of thing. Dark Knight would absolutely be a red vocation. It'd have magic, but like the magic is less a spell system and more of an ability system. And also Dark Knight's designed to be on the high end. Because it can get absurd. That's kind of the whole point of Dark Knight, is I want it to be broken. I don't think I'll ever translate this into an actual game, but like when I think about it, I think to myself, man, I want Dark Knight to be the shit. I want it to be like insane. That's why I came up with the Proudclad ability, which regenerates MP and HP based on a multiplier of your level. And in lower levels, this would be like a really basic thing, like it'd affect things, but it wouldn't feel like it. But say if you got to, I don't know, level 10,000, you functionally become immortal. A vampire can heal through sunlight damage easily. They can just walk out into the sun, not feel it. They'd burst into flames, but they'd heal so fast it literally wouldn't do anything. They'd just be on fire. Wonder of Wonders, that's exactly where Lucy is at, with her version of Proud Quack. So I want some of these things to be preposterously unbalanced. 100%. I don't really want that much balance for some of the things I like, but I want there to be a sense of balance. I want there to be like, oh yeah, this is a class system that somebody designed, because that's what it is. Like, it's literally like in the setting, Eden created the class system based on video game mechanics. That's what they are. They're literally that. So I have to keep up that idea that, oh yeah, this is something that was balanced out and thought about. Like, how do you make this work? How do I convince the reader that this is an actual thing that had thought put into it? I was like, okay, well, all I have to do is put thought into it, right? And I think about it and I'm like, oh god, I thought of a lot of jobs. In fact, too many for a game. I keep looking at it and I'm going, okay, I have too much shit here, and I don't want to scale any of it down. The building on it all is going to take forever. Because each type of job has its own growth tree, so to speak, so like there are vocation upgrades for each one. There are like enhancements and modifications, and there are like alternate versions. They're just like segue jobs. So like, Blue Mage is strictly a segue job. Like it's the best of both worlds. It's designed to be like pretty much melee caster right out the gates. Any melee or any caster can be a Blue Mage. Without question. Like, only rogues can't transfer to Blue Mage. And because of this, rogues would have a problem accessing Gun Mage because Gun Mage is the upgrade of Blue Mage. Which in this case is Blue Bullet. Now, Dark Knight starts off with like a lesser version that I haven't really thought of, but it's like it's its own tree, so to speak. You have to learn it to begin with, so it'd be something like the first stage would be Dark Apostle, because you have to literally become an apprentice to another Dark Knight to learn how to be one. And you also have to be either an undead or a demon. Because the prerequisite for Dark Knight is, Wonder of Wonders, being an undead. In order to wield the dark weapon. So all Dark Knights are restricted by their use of weapons. They can only use dark blades. That's their entire gimmick. Specifically, it's cursed weapons. And cursed weapons have like a huge risk associated with them, especially if you're not dead already. As if you are alive, the dark blade will slowly consume you and eventually just kill you outright. Assuming it doesn't decide to kill you because it's sentient on top of everything else. There we go.
Got it done!
Oh.
Success!
Alright, so I needed these parts to get some insect waves started.
Right, let's get cracking. No problem.
There we go. Okay, let's see. This one.
Right, let's get cracking.
And this one's gonna take a while. A paralysis sac and more Bahabra fingers. I can go ahead and get the sacks though.
Now get hunting.
Oh, hello. What are you looking for? An excellent purchase. Thank you for your patronage.
How about this weather, Don't forget to eat. I've been waiting for you. Oh man, so you. Oh yeah!
Let's do this.
But back to what I was saying. Sorry, I can't focus right now. Basically, how I'm hoping the vocation system will work is like you'll have to stick to the 3 like trees first. So if you pick an offensive vocation for melee, like a fighter, just straight up fighter, you'd have to stick to fighter trees. Like you can become any vocation within the fighter tree, but you're stuck with it. Unless you segue into like the mid tree, which is like blue mage in this case, or something along those lines. Shaman would also be like one of those in-between vocations. Your stats will be reduced, but they're not because of any penalty, because like it straight convert to like its own tree and stuff like that. I don't think I'd like have like a Final Fantasy 3 adjustment period. That'd just be weird. But like the idea is like, say Shaman is just straight physically weaker than a fighter. It's a caster too, so of course you wouldn't be able to like access your full strength as a fighter.
Go!
But you would carry over a bonus that would enhance the Shaman's strength, so there'd be that. Start off as like a mage. You have unlimited MP functionally. You can never ever stop being below 200 MP or something like that. You know, like Stranger of Paradise's version. And you could access any magic class you want. But you also can't do like rogue or melee unless you segue into them with the dual jobs. So you pick Shaman as a caster, and then you can eventually just pick fighter. But if you go to fighter with that, you also have like the bonus from your caster experience, as well as extra points put into like say discipline points put into a system where it counts towards other jobs. So say if you play as a caster enough, you get points towards sorcerer. You segue into fighter, and all those sorcerer points stay there. You can eventually like access sorcerer, but not as a fighter. But you unlock a prerequisite, so to speak, by being a caster. I did think of a sort of discipline point system for Dark Knight specifically because like wielding a Curse Blade is a prerequisite, but you have to wield it so many times before you can actually even start leveling it. But it puts points into the Dark Knight vocation in advance. So when you become a Dark Knight, after like gathering all these points from just using your Curse Blade, you have essentially a leg up, so to speak. You gain the powers of the Dark Knight. You have extra points to put into an ability that Dark Knight has. So you can fight Proudclad way earlier than intended, that sort of thing. The idea being, like, if you really put enough points into the specific prerequisites, you could gain from it early. Just by, like, wielding a Cursed Blade as a fighter, because they could wield it too, but with penalties and possible death. You could eventually just, like, store points for Dark, but only half that way playing fast. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Good job.
Oh wow.
After it! Thanks, buddy.
Shrapnel ammo that fast? Good lord. But, like I was saying, to sort of give an example, if you, like, wielded a Dark Blade, or the Cursed Blade most of your time as a fighter, like, say you were an undead fighter, so you wielded one pretty much 90% of the time. By the time you could actually, like, gain an apprenticeship with the Dark Knight to obtain the Dark Knight vocation, you'd have a lot of points to put into Dark Knight. Just for meeting the Cursed Blade. So you'd passively accrue like half of the passively accrue like Dark Knight points at half the rate just because of the weapons. Whew, that was close. Ah! Got him.
Another job well done.
I think the biggest challenge would be inventing stat blocks for monsters based on a system that goes up to like 99,000 or so. Level 99,000 as just a baseline. Because I'd have to figure out how to multiply the stats and stuff, but I'd also have to like come up with actual stats for monsters that you'd have to abide by. Because Shinryu, the final boss of the setting, at least in the actual first part, he's hard set to level 100k. And he has absurd stats, because he's basically meant to be this gigantic, freakishly huge wall. So for stuff like the Tarrasque, because there is going to be one, not in the traditional sense of a Tarrasque, but its own creature. It's going to be level 10,000. And it's basically going to have like access to really high-end spells. At least 10th level, for sure. Or something to that effect. Because all the spell levels go up to 14 as like a big homage to Final Fantasy II. I didn't really think through when I wrote that up. And spells have like a set of tiers as well as like types. It's meant to be really absurd. Like the whole system is designed to be really crazy.
Are you forward and or upgrade?
Borderline impractical. But, you know, that's what I like. Really absurd shit. The Tarrasque in question, the first one that is, because it has a child later on in the story.
The hammer's ready.
It's dealt with by basically constantly decapitating it until its regen wears out, so to speak, because it has like a hard cap on how much it can regen. The same kind of works for Proudclad. Proudclad can be exhausted too, but not nearly as quickly as like a normal regen would.
Some hunters
You can't deal with the
take
Tarrasque
hours.
in
I'm used
D&D
to it.
this way. It's not possible at all to do it like that. But in this specific case, the Tarrasque in this setting is dealt with by just chopping off its head while it's down over and over again, creating like this huge, silly pile of Tarrasque heads. And this has to go on for like 3 straight days before its healing factor finally stops. And then after that, it has to be sealed away into the void. Otherwise, its healing factor will kickstart again, and it'll come back anyway. Sealing it away in the void essentially like freezes it and prevents its body from ever doing it because it becomes like a mineral in the void. It's the Cars treatment from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, basically. Like, it can't be frozen while it's regenerating, but once you take out its healing factor, you freeze it in like the void, and it freezes so solid it just becomes a mineral and stops thinking. That was Cars' fate, basically. Most horrifying
Gotcha.
villain death in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure
Right.
goes to
Let's get
Cars.
cracking.
He was just ejected from the planet and forced to exist in the cold, painful,
Gotcha.
frigid void of space, where he floated there for an eternity until he eventually stopped thinking. I still think that's the worst way for any villain to go, even Cars.
Let's get cracking.
And Cars 100% deserved it. Okay, upgrade.
Gotcha.
And that's how the first Terrask is going to go, because it does have a child. Right after it dies, because in setting Terrasks reproduce asexually, they develop a pollet, so to speak, when they're about to die, on any part of their body they can. Only one, though. And the pollet breaks off and becomes a Terrask egg. And a new Terrask baby is born, and it's beholden to whatever it first sees. Like, it'll religiously obey and worship the first thing it sees is like an aside. In the first Terrask's case, it's beholden to Eden, as she created it. In Fido's case, because the second one does have a name, he's beholden to Bahamut. So, spoiler for the plot arc of the comic, Bahamut gets a pet Terrask. Which is not the same thing as the Terrask from D&D. Shares the name, loosely similar creature, but it's not nearly as insane as the original Terrask. I actually had to clarify that with Jason when I was talking to him about my setting. He was saying, "Oh, there's only one Terrask, John, and it's nightmare fuel." In fact, he told me a story
No need to hurry. There's plenty of time.
about this, about his first encounter with it. There we go. Bahamut sting.
Take good care of your gear.
Oh, hello.
Back to bug hunting.
Which quest would you like?
Let me just find the bug quest real quick. Run that again.
Be
I
careful
think
out there.
Bahamut's always fun. Alright. Need to
Have a
restock.
look at my wares. Coming right up. Thank you kindly. Coming right up.
Need that for sure.
Come again.
I'm just gonna head out. No need for the extra stuff. So, on the subject of Jason's experience with Terrask, I should let you all know this was probably the most creative use of a Terrask I've ever heard of, which, full disclosure, I've never heard of creative use outside of just this one. I don't know that much about the creature. I need to like double check the D&D stuff, but I'm coming up with my own version, basically. But it'd be nice to have more references to the original. But basically, right, wrong one. There it is. So,
Sorry, pal.
Jason had like a party of allies that in his campaign that ran afoul of an evil wizard, and they killed the wizard, but then he cursed them to be hunted down by an evil creature, or like it was a specific spell where they were going to be pursued relentlessly by a beast. That was the curse. And like when they finally encountered it, at first, you know, they didn't get an exact description of it because it was the first time they ever fought it. It was only when it basically took one of the fighter's arms that they realized what it was, because the Tarask has a trait in D&D where it essentially can dismember you. One of its attacks will just randomly take one of your limbs. And you can have it regenerated. It's excruciating in the sense you don't normally get regeneration unless you're like really powerful or whatever, or have access to healers who can do that. But it immediately clued them in because the description of the creature was very vague. That was done on purpose. Once they figured out it was the Tarask that was cursed to hunt them down, suddenly the whole thing became this horrifying survival thriller sequence where they had to live off the land. Because every time they tried to go to a town, the town would chase them off because the fucking Tarask was hunting them down. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with them. So this whole sequence became this insane, like, freaking horror movie type situation because they couldn't deal with the Tarask. They weren't strong enough to fight it. And even if they killed it, the curse would bring it right back to them. Because how you deal with the Tarask is you kill it, cast Wish, and have it like move to another plane or something. They couldn't do that here because the Tarask was constantly summoned to them by the spell. Their workaround is really insane, or as I heard it, it was pretty insane. They had to time travel back to the moment when this wizard cast his curse, and they had to prevent him from casting it. Just outright. And that ended up stopping it. When I heard that, I was like, oh wow. Dungeons & Dragons could get really fucking crazy. Like, I didn't know it could get that crazy. But it really depends on the DM writing. I just heard that and I was like, oh my god, this is so insane. This is actual something. This is something I wish could be translated into a video game. It's like, when you compare a video game to like the power of human imagination, it really pales in comparison in some ways. Because it's restricted by just the medium itself.
Don't mind me.
But man, wouldn't it be cool if like there was a game where you could just do shit like that? Have these situations arise where like you're hunted down by a fucking Tarask due to a curse. Anyway, my main point is like that was pretty much the first instance I heard of where I got like an idea of what the Tarask was capable of and how creatively you could use it, and like adding it into a curse where a fell creature hunts you down is probably one of the most interesting ways to like make the Tarask work, because it's not a world-ending threat in so much as it's specifically after the party and it's glued to them by the curse. But that just begs the question: how the fuck did the wizard cast that? The sorcerer in this case. He'd have to be like above Elminster tier, or at least add it to do that. Insane. I just think if a sorcerer could cast this, couldn't a party member also cast it? Wouldn't that be just a great way of just dooming the big bad? Like, copying a spell like that would be insane. Imagine if, like, Hunt Fell Creature,
Sorry, pal.
Fell Creature Curse, Tarask, could be applied as, like, a type of blue magic. Like, the player could learn, and if they get hit by it, they just have to survive a Tarask, so long as they know the spell.
Nothing personal.
So long as they've endured it and experienced it, even the time travel solution wouldn't prevent them from knowing it.
What's this?
Be a really crazy way to handle that, actually.
Go!
But playing Pathfinder the game has me really appreciating one spell that I'm really liking. Because I've got like a late game going on with my first character, the Kitsune Lich. He's on the way to becoming a Lich, but I'm having to do like a hero conversion into bad guy because I want Lich powers. You know, I'm willing to go to those extremes for that much magic. And it's great so far because you get a lot of crazy, powerful abilities like manipulate flesh, which is really good. It ignores a lot of AC, so really high AC monsters can't even handle it. And I get a lot of casts too, which is equally awesome. But I think my favorite spell in the game is Become Dragonkind 2, because you just deadass turn into a dragon. You get a breath weapon and everything. It's so much fucking fun. Like, I don't even know how that applied to, like, the caster's stats, because Dragon has really good melee attack, but if you're, like, in Become Dragonkind, how good is it really? If you're, like, a mage. I keep wondering, like, could a martial character use that spell? Benefit from the melee aspect of it? Because the breath weapon's good. I'm not sure if it's good enough.
Move!
Alright. Let me just go up here. Like, I've been rambling on and on about this because I'm really, getting into D&D related video games, D&D related stuff, thanks to the Pathfinder sessions we've been having, because I want to explore, like, setting way more than I have. And the more I think about it, the more I really just love how creative you can get with it. It's loads of fun. It really is. And it's also given me, like, a lot of crazy ideas. Now, I did hear there was a mythic path in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous where you could become a gold dragon. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but I'm looking into it. I need to do some research on it real quick. But I kind of want to do that for, like, not Killman, he's going to become a Lich, but Sage, or not Sage Sorcerer, a dual Bloodline Sorcerer that I'm running. There we go. Okay. Where are they at? Where are they at? Let me at him.
Got it done!
It's already 48 minutes in. Good lord. Okay. Let me think here. can't remember exactly what I need those parts for, but I'll figure it out. I might play Dragon's Dogma next, I'm not sure. I'm really just building weapons right now.
Are you foraging or upgrading?
Mostly for the heck of it. Okay, so this requires 2 more stingers to make. It is a paralysis glaive, so it's fairly good for what it is. Looks like stingers are rare drops, unfortunately.
Oh, hello. An excellent purchase. Thank you for your patronage.
It's a good day for a hunt. Don't forget to eat.
Let's do this.
One of the ways I've been planning out like, the comics mechanical system is I keep thinking to myself, how would I go about running this as an actual TTRPG session? And part of the problem is I look back on some of the decisions I've made and I'm like, oh, this won't work. This is too imbalanced. This is like not gonna work as a tabletop RPG system. And then some choices I'm like, no, this is actually pretty cool. And some I'm like, I have to literally go, I am convinced that this is going to work somehow. I don't care what the odds are. I'm gonna make it work.
Don't mind me.
It's cool. The rule of cool rules. Because, you know, I'm stubborn like that. But one thing I was thinking of is, like, when I imagine a tabletop setting for the Lord of Doom,
Sorry.
the first thing I immediately think of is, okay, Bahamut's like, he's not playable in this. You don't play as him, ever. If he was in, like, an actual TTRPG version of the story, he'd straight up be, not even the main antagonist, though he's supposed to be. He'd be like an obstacle character. Or, a third party that constantly gets in the way. Ah, come on. Stop doing that.
Don't mind me.
And the reason I say this is because that's actually one of the things I planned for him to do, is like get in the way of like a party of 4 adventurers dealing with the Duchy of Tycoon. Because in the setting, like, the culture humanity has, they're very biased against monsters. They hate monsters. They're, like, super hardcore racist against monsters. We're talking slave markets. Thriving slave trade. A whole culture where people are like, these poor creatures must be abused, violated, eviscerated, and killed in order to save their souls. You know, the whole god-awful aspect of humanity times a bajillion. And the Duchy is the worst. They're the worst of the worst. And they're for individuals who, in the part of the story, are dead set against letting Duke Tycoon ascend to godhood for their own specific reasons, because he's seeking to become the next Eidolon, and they're like, no, this isn't going to happen. We're not going to let that happen. In the setting, they basically have their own personal reasons. It's not like ideal or anything. They're still humans, and they hate monsters, just as much as the next guy. So there's no moral quandary with these characters.
Reloading.
They are completely at peace with their hatred of monsters. And Bahamut gets involved in their specific adventure as like a outlier party. A character they think is aligned with the Duke, because the Duke isn't above these monsters for his own ends. He's basically the Emperor, so to speak, Emperor Mateus in the setting. And the idea is, like, Bahamut just shows up randomly, and they end up having to fight him. And he ends up retreating each time after they quote-unquote win each encounter. And they keep thinking Bahamut is like with the Duke. They think he's like one of the bad guys. So every time he shows up, he fucks their shit up, or they fuck his up, and it's like a weird rivalry between the two. And right at the end, the Duke basically overwhelmingly beats their ass. And he's finally achieved godhood. He's ready to, like, he's ascended. He's become Duke Ramu Tycoon, the Eidolon of Storms. And it's like, for them, it's like the ultimate game over. Say, it's like, oh, we completely failed, but we're never gonna get past this. And then Bahamut swoops in, and he doesn't so much save the day. He saves them. He basically tells them to leave, and they do it. And then it's like a 1v1 versus Bahamut Ramu. Or Evil Ramu in this case, because he's like an actual villain. And it ends with him destroying the entire duchy with a single Terra Flare. Ramu included. And the whole sequence is meant to play out like this from the perspective of the quote-unquote heroes. But it's designed in such a way where it feels like Bahamut's like an interfering third party at all times. And you end up rooting for the main cast half the time because, like, you don't know exactly what this character is at first, or, like, I kind of want to be coy about it, but in a way, like, you immediately start realizing, oh, something's up with this extremely specific individual who keeps showing up. So going back to my main point, when I think of, like, applying that to a TTRPG, I just want it to be like that, where he, like, randomly shows up, and just, based on your choices, he either fucks a party up or helps them out or something like that. But essentially, it's like the bad guy swooping in to save the day. A villain playing the role of a hero, but in a very villainous way. Because when the Duchy of Tycoon is blown to smithereens, like the Terra Flare, it dramatically alters the politics of the world. It alters the literal landscape, too, because the weather has to change to accommodate the giant crater where a mountain city used to be. To give it a point of comparison, it'd be like Ultima blowing up in Final Fantasy VII. It'd be about that much of an impact. And naturally, this is going to cause mass climate change and a bunch of other unfortunate stuff. Which, of course, in turn would eventually start pissing off Titan. But my main point is, in a TTRPG, that's kind of what you'd be fucking with every time Bahamut shows up, because you wouldn't know him on sight or anything. The description would have to be vague right out the gates, to make sure that, like, if anybody knew what Bahamut was supposed to look like, they wouldn't recognize it based on, like, the basic description. So the party can make their choices without any sort of bias involved. They just be like, oh yeah, this is just a monster, let's kill it. And then, like, the first party member immediately dies or something. And then suddenly they're fighting something that they can't actually beat. And then it just walks away after it kills the one party member, because Bahamut ain't got time for that shit. He don't want to kill nobody, he just wants to be left alone. It'd be like pissing off Godzilla. Godzilla will kill the offender and then immediately fuck off. Or he might go on a rampage and make everyone pay. In fact, that's exactly it. That's kind of the exact vibe I want for, like, him in a TTRPG setting. I'd want it to feel exactly like Godzilla showing up to save the day. Like, you just immediately realize how fucked the party is, pretty much. And mechanically, that'd be kind of difficult to do, because, like, what if they try to figure out a way to prevent him from escaping? Well, then they have this insanely powerful monster trapped, cornered, and ready to fight back. An insanely powerful monster that they're not ready to fight. And it'd be up to the DM to determine just how generous Bahamut would be feeling in that case. Like, would he just forcibly break free, give them the middle finger, and leave, or would he blow up the entire region? Would he just kill a few of them, or torture one, make his point? And how would they trap him in the first place? How could the DM prevent that the second time? If I say, if they try it again, Bahamut's already prepared for that, and he has like a hard counter. How lethal would that hard counter need to be?
Personal.
Would he just use it to kill them? Would he turn the trap around and trap them? Keep them locked there for like a week? Would it be a magical trap? Non-magical? Because Bahamut is like, he's supposed to be an escalating threat more than anything else. He's like, he starts off seeming small, and then he just starts steamrolling, so to speak, through the leveling system. It gets worse and worse as time wears on.
Got it done.
That's pretty much how it's designed its growth. Like, once he gets started, he just doesn't stop. And he gets progressively more and more existentially threatening as he kills more and more things. Anyway, hopefully that's enough Bahamut stingers, but we'll see.
I never fail.
Ugh. Can I get any stingers? Ooh, I want stingers. Oh, that sucked. I don't think I get everything I needed for that.
Have a look around.
Let me check. What am I doing?
My hammer's ready.
It's over here. Let's see. Oh, I got enough. Good.
No problem.
Now that's out of the way. Magia. I'll put back the spades.
What do you need?
Got that, so I don't have to worry about that at all. Now, here we go. Somnacanth. I should go ahead and have
Take
that
good
next.
care of your gear.
The real question is, how should I go about this? I have some good weapons. I don't think I bothered using a hunting horn at all. I should use that next. So, thunder or paralysis. Affinity up. That's interesting. You need more affinity, but need more power to it. I feel like this was better. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that'll work. That'll work. Let me see. Is there a Horn Maestro set? I don't even think there is. At least not
How
for
are you
this
doing?
particular level.
Are you foraging or upgrading?
Okay. I got wide range, which is nice. Critical element, that's good. Metal ingot. What am I after? Tetramadon. Interesting. Okay, I'll be right back.
No need to hurry. There's plenty of time.
let me think here. Okay, enough of that. Let me think. Huh, that's Bombardier, but not... Okay. Clue. Huh. Bahambra has paralysis attack, which is kind of pointless because I have, like, the Volvid on set, so... Interesting, though. Very interesting. There's an artillery set. Really early, too, with good artillery. Oh god. Stun resistance as well. You should have gotten this. Shit. It's not that good, but still. Oh, this is crazy. This is like a really early gun set. Okay, alloy. Okay, sharp. Lagambi. There's really nothing I can see that has like a Maestro at all. Nope. Oh well.
Bye.
Hunter's notes, monsters. I don't hunt Somnacanth that often, so I'm not really sure. Okay, it is weak to thunder. Ailments. It is weakest to blast in the ailment department. It has like an absurdly high weakness to blast and thunderblight spread. Maybe I could go with blast. I don't think I have that many blast weapons right now, but... Magia. The Magia Rod. Use that. One second, just, Oh, Kulu has it. Huh. What are the odds? It's actually really good for that. God. I'm changing back then. Bird up. Can I even make the Kulu Yaku dance though? I cannot. I need a Kulu Beak for that. That will give me stun resistance and critical eye. So at the very least, I should at least try to mess around with something that fits me better.
Bye.
That's nice, but I need something. I guess evaded extender would be the best, but then again, attack boost is right there. Nah. Evade extender is better.
How are you today? Here's the quest list. Be careful out there. Hey, you're back!
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one too. You.
Alright. That should just about do it. Didn't realize that Kulu Yaku had like the Horn Maestro set. What are the odds?
Go!
I'm definitely going to be like applying the setting or like the feats, because technically, very technically, Crowd Clap would be a feat. But there are also some I've been thinking of and trying to come up with, like original feats, like, well, like a dragon, for example, is a feat I've been thinking of, where it, like, gives you, stat boosts based on your affinity with dragons and dragon weapons and stuff. It's not exactly that. I think I've like listed before different. That's because I'm still making the thing. But as I recall, it was a level scaling feat that boosted certain stats based on your levels and dragon affinity, and also granted you like dragon abilities. So it's like it's sort of like a very, very low end become dragon kind, but it also works in support of that. So if you say wanted to ever literally become a dragon, the first step would be acquiring the like a dragon feat and then leveling with that on, which would then give you like huge stat boosts based on the type of dragon you want to become. And become dragonkind, which will give you like temporary dragon transformations. Become dragonkind 2, then become dragonkind 3, and that would be a spell, not a feat. But this would help you eventually be able to clear the Tower of Power, which is a 100 floor gauntlet against dragons. You literally have to fight about 100 dragons. Technically, it's something along the lines of 120, because some rooms have multiple dragons. Floor 99 has the settings version of Tiamat, and then Tia Babalo himself is floor 100. And because Tia Babalo is a god, he could just resurrect any dragons that are killed. They're very casual about it. Like, I imagine the whole situation being anytime a challenger wants to go to the tower and test themselves, every dragon probably already knows them. They just wave them in. Oh, hey, how you doing? Let's fight to the death. If you die in the Tower of Power, Tia Babalo just resurrects you and goes, okay, try again. Come back later. Thanks for playing. So even though there aren't like long-term consequences for repeatedly failing the challenge, because really it's a question of determination over raw power, like the idea is like the challenge is how much of your time are you willing to spend doing this? How many people have gone crazy because their will broke from trying to take on this tower in order to gain the ultimate power of a dragon that the Dragon King himself can offer. And if you do clear it, Tia Babalo personally gifts you with the power to just straight up polymorph into a dragon, like full-blown race change. And you can just do this whenever you want. Switching between whatever forms you like you can race change back and forth, but only between a dragon and whatever your original race was. So it's similar to become Dragonkind, except if you choose to let it be permanent, it's permanent. And it's just straight up pure dragon. All the dragons immediately treat you like a dragon. You're given the respect that affords, and the option to join the Dragon Legion if you so choose. And the final challenge being Tia Babalo himself is like part of what makes it so difficult. Because you have to beat him in a fight to the death. And he's like one of the final bosses in the setting. My main point is like coming up with feats and support to like paths like that is something I've been trying to do. But there he is. Okay.
Don't let it escape! Get after it!
That went well. Anyway, I may or may not include feats in the balance, but like there's going to be something along those lines because Proudclad exists, and that's like a major story thing. This is like one of the big challenges of beating Illusia in a fight is like Proudclad exists, and it's like this insane region that ignores the undead state in favor of just healing. So feats are kind of already hard locked in, but how I implement them in the settings, like actual mechanics, that's gonna be really difficult, I think. But not awesome. But I guess that's the whole point. I need to like write this stuff out more instead of just thinking about it. Well, the thing is, I haven't written too much of the story. I've got a lot planned, but I need to actually put it to paper before this. I also need to like reference D&D to sort of get an idea of how they structure their rules. I have a handbook. Like Jason gifted it to me for Christmas, I think, because he's hardcore into D&D, and I really like it too. I know a lot about how the game works, but I don't know like the sheer volume of stuff I can potentially add into it, and how mine would even compare. But one thing I am convinced of, there needs to be rules, because it is a setting. There needs to be structure to the I'll cross that bridge when we get there. I also need to make more concept art. So like, improving my art's gonna be hard. As the way I'm thinking I'm gonna end up working on this is I'm gonna have to like work on each page for a really long time. Like thinking maybe a month per page. I'm not really sure. But like a lot of work is going to go into pretty much every page. And of course I can't disconnect my art from Mobile. I absolutely have to make sure I focus on making both equally high quality. There we go. Now, I have been neglecting the writing side of things. I need to like actually come up with a document or something, or just a straight a stat block for the characters for sure.
Sorry.
The problem with Bahamut's stat block is it's not set in stone. He grows. He's like designed to grow. So I need to come up with a set of stat blocks for him. One for each stage, and where I plan on having him like grow. He's meant to be pretty absurd by the end. Eluzia is going to be the hard one for sure because she's practically immortal and invincible in every sense of the word. Like, her region is so insane she can walk out into the sun, be on fire, and not even be affected by it.
I never fail.
Because her proud-clad regen is so absurdly high that, like, she just ignores sun damage. But I also want to make sure I hardline with like the idea that she is a Dark Knight, so her stats all reflect that. Even if they're really high, like there's like they're gonna be really low stats too. But then I also have to like focus on like racial boosts as well, because she's a vampire, so in the setting vampires all have like really good charisma and wisdom. Because they're technically holy creatures. Setting. Very technical. There's more to it than that. Ew, go away.
What is it?
At the very least, I think I can come up with a stat block later on. Oh, this looks cool. What the fuck? I've been sleeping on this set my entire life. Oh, it's so raw. What the fuck? Look at that shit. I've never worn this set. I'm very mad at myself. It's got sleep attack. It's got bombardier. It's literally a sleep bombing set. That's cool as fuck.
Some hunters literally take hours.
It's got divine blessing. Item prolonger. Where has this set been my entire life? My god, I need this now.
No problem.
I need parts of this now.
Right, let's get cracking.
I'm gonna get this set. I'm gonna 100% get this. This shit is mine. I'm gonna hunt me a Somnacanth.
The village is in your hands.
Not with this. Alright, I'm going to switch it up. Fortunately, I don't have a blast hammer, but this hammer is just fine.
Bunny Dongo are a taste of heaven.
Oh, man, this set's cool as
Good
hell.
luck. Get your Bunny Dongo right here. Oh man, so. Oh yeah.
Okay, one sec. I'm just, still one thing I need to get, and I don't
What do
think
you
I can
want?
now.
What do you
Switch
mean?
axe, switch axe. Sleep switch axe. Nope, I need another great baggy hide.
See you later.
So I'm gonna need a detour.
How about this weather, Which quest would you like? Don't forget to eat.
Let's do this.
I think the first character sheet I really want to work on, 100%, is Elusia's. But at the same time, I also need to create a baseline. So maybe Bahamut, I guess. But then again, he's already got like a bunch of stuff going on. If I'm gonna create a foundation, I guess I really need to start with the races. There are quite a lot. But mostly they're divided straight down the middle, so to speak. Because there are monster races, and then there are human races, or humanoid races. They're considered not monsters by the human culture, but they're just straight up like not human either. So dwarves and elves would fit in like the human races category, even though they're not human. Whereas dark elves would immediately be considered a type of monster because dark elves. I guess. It's kind of like the joke there. It's like, oh yeah, the elves are considered human, but not the dark elves, huh? I see how you are. Alright, let's see. Oh shit. It's the snail. He's here. I better get my ass out there. Gotta hurry, gotta hurry, gotta hurry. Gonna miss him. Oh no, 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 no. Find the monk snail, find the monk snail. We're gonna make it, we're gonna make it. There he is! It's really him! Oh, I'm such a huge fan. I gotta wave to him and take his picture.
Goodbye.
Okay, hold on. Is he gonna do anything? They wanted this thing to look like an Umibozu, which is really cool. Okay, that'll work. Now to go after that monster. And I really needed to get something to snack on across the week that wasn't just normal food. Like, I don't buy snacks that often because they're kind of expensive, but I'm like, man, I could go for some cake or something like that. It's that same part of me that likes sweets for some reason, even though I'm trying to lose weight. I don't really need to lose weight, I just feel kind of self-conscious about my gigantic ass. It just does not quit. Really need to just be more self-accepting. Self-improvement is nice, but not when you obsess over it, you know? Alright. Which way? Which way? Where is my target? Where is he? There he is. Alright, time to die.
Over there.
This thing has a really large hitbox. I do not have slugger items. Or maybe I do, I don't know.
Goodbye!
Damn, that was fast.
Show no mercy!
Haha, got him. There we go.
Got him done!
That takes care of the baggy parts requirement.
Nothing personal.
I can get that weapon out of the way. Like I probably said earlier, the main goal of the PS5 version of this game is like I'm trying to make every weapon in the game, at least in the base game. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that for Sunbreak, but we'll see. But, really I'm just trying to make everything, you know? And that's going to take forever. Like, straight up, it's going to take forever. But, I just like doing that part of the game, so I'm doing it the most.
Let's see.
Oh, wow, it's already an hour and a half in. I got time for another Somnacanth on.
Success!
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about D&D, or Pathfinder in my case, Solar Plate so far, is when you travel around the world map, like, any level of bullshit could potentially happen. And you have to, like, keep track of supplies and shit. So when I was like, we were going to visit the Silver Dragon's Lair, because we were doing that, it took forever. Like, it's straight up, it took a long ass time, and we weren't even visiting the lair. We were going to, like, the tower to deal with that. We found out we weren't equipped to do that yet, and we needed to wait 2 weeks to get some other stuff out of the way. Because the water supply was, like, a huge problem. And we wanted to just deal with that, so Jason's like, okay, let's go to the tower. And we, like, go from square to square, but we'd have to pass navigation checks and survival checks. And half the time we would, but there was always that one instance or one or two instances where something would go wrong and we'd fail the nav checks. Sometimes it was not once. and we get lost, or worse, get closer and closer to the acrid acid swamp.
What do you need?
And it just kept going like that, basically.
Are you foraging or upgrading?
His main goal was to like clear up the water supply,
No problem.
because Flan's river is literally a river of acid, and Tyrant Thraxus can't deal with the problem. He cannot negotiate with the wizard to like get the people of Flan to be in better straits, which is part of why tensions with the city and Tyrant Thraxus have escalated to the point where they're killing each other and shit. Back to my point.
Gotcha.
In our version of Pool of
No
Radiance, Tyrant Thraxus is he's got a wizard that's sort of aligned with him, but they have a disagreement. And this wizard
Let's
is
get cracking.
insane. Like, straight up, he's crazy. Legit psycho, super duper crazy.
No problem.
And he's out of control. Tyrant Thraxus can't do anything about him. He won't do anything about him. Because that's why negotiations are broke down. It's like
Right. Let's get cracking.
Cadorna wants Tyrant Thraxus to fix the water problem because it's his subordinate. It's up there, and he's like, I can't do anything. I won't do anything. Deal with it. And that in turn, like, caused like conflict to get worse because they were originally trying to retake the city, but Tyrant Thraxus was so entrenched that they just straight up couldn't. Because he's got like fire giants in the main city district and everything. Podal Plaza. He's got like a lot of stuff going on in Podal Plaza. That part of the city's just become like a city of monsters. You got Rakshasas, you've got Drow, you've got giants. Pretty sure there's probably a dragon there too. Main point being, like, Podal Plaza is like the biggest monster town. And it's not like in disrepair or anything. It's straight up occupied and lived in by the monsters. You got goblins and shit going about their business, selling their wares. It's something else. This is Dream Shell and Sleeper. I need to check something real quick. This has been bugging me for a while. Dream Shell. How the hell do I get Dream Shells? I don't think I've ever seen an instance where I can get them. Okay, Mushroomy Market. Obtained randomly in the Argosy. Okay, so I have to get mushrooms. So Mushroom Market is the way to go.
The village is in your hands.
But in the setting, like Tyrant Thraxus, as he's described 300 years ago, he's a very handsome barbarian with long, flowing, flaming hair. And he's super charismatic. Like, everybody was in awe of him, so to speak. And he came to the town to conquer. He came to occupy it. He wasn't going to kill anyone unless they fought back. So, as far as I understand it, Tyrant Thraxus is a lawful evil character. Oh, hey, I got plenty of dream shells now. Shit. The more the better.
Bye-bye.
Oh, it's you.
Somnacanth. Not really them after, but okay.
What do you need?
Switch out. So there's another one. Yeah, here. For sleep herbs. Okay. Here's frost waste. I can just grab those from like anywhere, I think. So, yeah. That'll be fun to try. I'm gonna go ahead and get that Somnacanth armor started.
Bunny Dongo are a taste of heaven. Be careful out there.
I need to check what I need for it, though.
Good to see you.
A sleep bombing set is never a bad thing. So yeah, just straight up Somnacanth parts. I've got all the big pins I need. And everything else.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna get more though. Where was
I've
that?
got lots of tasty snacks for you. I knew you were gonna
But the
say
navigation in our campaign was like really interesting because like every dice roll could have made it go way worse. And we did end up having to fight 3 fire dragons at one point, which was really crazy. And not exactly... It went really well. Like, we got, like, the better of them, but it was a hard fight because they had a really high AC. And they had the ability to naturally enchant all their weapons with fire. It was temporary. It was not even really enchantment. They were just cloaking their +1 greatswords in flames. But their hit rate was so high, they didn't really, like, need +1 greatswords. They could have just gone with rusted weapons to kill us. And we were barely doing any damage to them. Like, I distinctly remember my character could barely hit them once in his 3 attacks. He was just doing, like, he wasn't doing any damage. Like, he'd only deal, like, 30 damage per round, which seems like a lot, but you gotta remember he's, like, running with, like, a D12 great sword, great hammer, striking. Or actually, no, it's great axe strike. Greater striking great axe. So it's like 3d12s per attack. If I hit. And therein lies the rub, because, like, I could only hit once. Every other 2 attacks that I did had a penalty. So, like, I immediately just missed it. Because their absurdly high AC is just... it's hard to work around. We could make them flat-footed by, like, being near them, and if, say, I'd used a greatsword and somehow magically landed a crit on them, I could have used critical brutality to make them flat, essentially make them flat-footed. Because, oh damn, that's nice.
Move.
That's how critical brutality works, as far as I know. It's like, depending on the weapon, there's like a special effect that triggers. So axes, you'll hit like, your attack will go through the enemy and hit the adjacent enemy. So it's like a 2-for-1 deal. There we go. When it came to hammers were just not confirmed, which is really good. My character was loaded with bear, so to speak. He had a lot of shit. Like, truth be told, I'm amazed I'm not overburdened. I had like a great sword. I had 2 great swords, so great axe, giant great axe. So it's like a weapon I couldn't wield very well. Warhammer, which only recently had striking applied to it. So it's a thing that's like, it's there. I had a lot of them. Goodness.
It's getting away!
goodness. Oh, why am I sneezing so much? Like I was saying, yeah, Ironclaw had a lot of weapons. Or has. He's still alive so far. That might change any day now. Like, I'm fully expecting to have him killed at one point, because, like, he's pissed off a lot of characters. Okay, this is actually hard to get this guy. Okay, this is taking a while on that, but once... Oh shit! I forgot about that. About to die. I think part of the reason I want this to be mostly based on TV stuff is because Overlord, the anime that came out, it's actually got a manga, not even a manga, a web novel that's based on D&D related stuff. That's kind of what hardcore got me into telling a story about D&D related things. Okay. I wasn't thinking about it. Shit. But then I watched Soul Spider, So What? I really liked that one because of, like, growth progression of the character. That was really the draw for me, is like seeing this spider character like constantly dealing with an escalating series of threats and like systematically taking down this super hardcore in-game dungeon one step at a time. And just getting progressively stronger. I think that's really what made me want to like write a comic or a story centered around that sort of progression. Because that's basically what it's supposed to be, is that that's fight Bahamut compared to escalating threat. So I'm playing is like, I saw that and I thought it was the coolest shit ever. That goes for a really long distance. Basically, stories with specific D&D mechanics in them are kind of what inspired me to make this, but also, like, I really like Kentaro Miura's work. So I wanted to make a comic kind of in a style similar to his. But not specifically that, I was always thinking about making it... Ah, shit. This thing's really nightmarish when you play with it. Like, I was always thinking about making it, but, like, when Mira died, that's kind of when I decided, okay, it needs to happen. I need to make it good. Like, I'm gonna make a story, I'm gonna make it work. But I've always wanted to make a good high fantasy story, and looking at how other people have done it kind of makes me want to do it their way. where they like created these systems and structures based on their favorite thing, which in my case is Final Fantasy and D&D. Carries running away. There's not. But when Mira died, I realized if I stick to just planning and thinking about it, not like make actual palpable stuff, it's never going to get done. Mira died at like 50 before his story could be finished, and that kind of scared the shit out of me because it felt wrong, you know?
Nothing personal.
Like, you shouldn't die before your story is finished. You shouldn't die before you've finished making the thing you wanted to make. As a guy who likes making things, I like building, I like creating, I like writing. In general, that's horrifying to me because it just feels awful. Content creator, regardless of whether he makes a story, a video game, manga, he should never die before he gets to finish the thing he's making. Like, especially if it's like the main thing, like it was with Mirror, because like, I always got the impression that Berserk was like his big thing, you know? And he died before he could finish it.
Success!
So for me, I just wanted to make it my own before I kicked the bucket. If that makes any resemblance, I'm rambling. I swear I don't do this all the time. It's funny. I do this better when I'm writing it out instead of, like, speaking. I always write better than I speak. It's like a curse. Okay, give me that armor.
Right, let's get cracking.
Ah, I need one more claw.
Take good care of your gear. What's up? What do you need?
I know the blast is something I need to use, but I don't think I can access that yet. No, I can't. Okay.
See you later.
Bag of horse. That's cute. File. I always had like one thing of Thunder Attack. It's kind of sad. Morph, Date Extender. There's gotta be a better headpiece. There we go, the Date Extender. And anything else? Or a Date Extender. Or I could do something else. It's my ass-kicking outfit. It kicks ass, I swear. Maybe you should go with a Vedic Extender. I like attack boost, but maybe I should. This is the stupidest fucking mix set I've ever made, and I love it. I'm never taking it off. It's mine now. This is gonna be the greatest set ever. For this tier.
Come to me if you need new gear.
It's a good day for a hunt. Don't forget to eat.
How may I help you? Yeah, I love that one too. You.
been talking a lot about some of the ideas I have in my setting and whatnot. I'm not really an expert on how D&D stuff works, so I don't think I'm really qualified to write it based on that. But I just want to. Even if I fuck up, or just not make it not good. There's always next time. And this is something I'm just doing for fun. I'm not making money off of it or nothing. I'm really just writing something I feel like writing. Okay.
Move!
I've been monster hunting and ranting this entire time. I'm gonna focus on hunting this thing now.
There it is!
Okay, now I'm clear. That was rough. Yeah, building so many sets really does make it easier to like use certain weapons for sure. Easy access to rapid modes would be good. Help! Help! I really hate the random slowdown. That sucks. Somebody attack me quickly. Thank you. There we go. I'll go.
Well, that's over. Sorry, pal.
That infinity boost came too late. Ugh. I need to get some more food. I'm starving. I think I've got everything I need, though. Of course, I might not have. I didn't break the claws. There's always a chance that one will drop. That's really all I need for this. We'll see. Either way, I'm gonna switch it up and either play Dragon's Dogma or more Wrath of the Righteous, depending on my mood. Probably Dragon's Dogma, as I feel like I really need to play that for a bit. Also, I think I just want to mess around with one of the jobs. I don't normally play. In fact, the more I think about it, yeah, the more I really want to do that.
Well, good job, buddy.
So I'll switch it up in a bit.
Village is safe with me.
It'll be fun. Okay, what are we looking at here? Fuck, no claws. Oh well. This is fun. I can always get the rest of that set later. It's a sleep bombing set, but it's not like super important.
Good to see you, Hunter.
One more claws. All
Bye.
I need. Let me check the time. Yep, that's on 2 hours. I'm gonna take a quick break.